Your phone. This is probably the thing, maybe this is the most important video because most of us are so connected to our cell phones nowadays that they are a part of us, and most of what we do during the day and night, and somehow they are a participant in those things. So when you go to Scotland, you should really check with your cell provider to know how well your phone is going to work while in Scotland. Yeah. Nowadays, I think most cellular devices tend to pick up other networks and tend to work better and better. In the past, we've had some people who couldn't use their carriers, and they were really frustrated because other people's phones worked, but theirs did not. So you will notice these kinds of differences possibly, but it's always good to check with your cellular provider. You also need to know what it costs to use your phone in another country. And I'll talk about that in a couple different ways. Some cell providers will say, oh, you're going to Scotland? Well, then you should have this international plan. Some will charge you $10 a day, and then you have a certain amount of time and data that you can use cellular data for that. But ultimately, you need to know, if I pick up the phone and make a phone call, what is this going to cost me? If I send a text or even receive a text, what is it going to cost me to do that? So you ultimately need to know those things from your company before it happens. And especially some large things, like say somebody sends you an email with a video attached to it and you're downloading the video to watch it. We've had instances where some of those things, or texting, has cost people money. Yeah. The biggest thing on your phone is there's data roaming. Yeah. So what data roaming is that if you are downloading emails, music, anything else your phone streams down to the phone when you're not connected to Wi-Fi, this is all cellular data. Yeah. And you're called roaming, getting it. Yeah. So my suggestion always to you, most of the time, if possible, use the phone when you're in Wi-Fi. Yeah. And it's often good to click off the data roaming of the phone unless you're on a plan that allows it. So if you're not on a plan, turn your cellular data roaming off so that your phone won't download emails until you're back to Wi-Fi. Yeah. You can do this by clicking a button. Sometimes I even go a little crazy and I'll go down and I'll tap each app and turn off the cellular data for each individual app. I can then go back later and turn them back on. And sometimes it also just lets me know like what parts of my phone, which apps are connected to that. What you don't want to do, which we have had in the past, is people come home from Scotland with large cell phone bills that they did not expect, and sometimes these have been in the hundreds of dollars. Yeah. The famous one is we had a student that broke up with a girlfriend, made up with a girlfriend, and did this 4 different times over the course of a week, and then came home to a cell phone bill that was about $700. So sometimes if you're not on a plan, making a phone call can be $2.50 per minute. So you can really run a lot of that. Now, what I suggest to a lot of you is to do things on Wi-Fi. So sometimes there are even apps that do that. Like WhatsApp is an app that allows you to make a phone call by Wi-Fi and connect with people. So you can connect with people on that. Sometimes you can do the same. FaceTime can sometimes work, but you want to make sure you're using Wi-Fi and you're not using cell data to make those things, to stay connected to everyone else. You should also stay connected with family. Yeah, this becomes a little hard. I've traveled with some people who might call their mom, or might call someone, someone special to them, and talk to them 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times a day. So sometimes then it becomes difficult when you're in Scotland to cut that cord and not stay that connected. So I would suggest that you talk to the people that you're going to communicate with and figure out how you're going to communicate, figure out when you're going to communicate. Again, it's 8 hours difference. So late at night tends to be pretty okay. But sometimes, early in the morning, that person might be asleep. So that might be a more difficult time to contact them. You'll figure out what to do with that. The other side of the coin with that is I've also traveled with people who have decided, oh, I'm not going to contact them at all for 2 weeks. So, and then sometimes parents or people get upset that somehow you're not being connected. So it's up to you. The other thing that I would suggest to you with all of your loved ones is have them follow us on Instagram. We will try and post every day and have things about our trip. So maybe there'll be a daily post where we talk about the day and the things that happened during the day. Sometimes those are kind of fun, and we can post pictures of the group doing things where they can see you and they can know, okay, everything's great. This person's having a good time, and I shouldn't worry.